We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, fix the penalty at death.
The sentence is death. Jurors reached their dramatic decision to send Scott Peterson to death row after 12 hours of deliberations. Scott Peterson showed no emotion as he heard himself sentenced to die, other than to clench his jaw. Inside Edition's Jim Moray.
It was standing room only inside that courtroom and extremely tense. When Scott walked in, he smiled toward his parents. Jackie Peterson gave her son some words of encouragement. Mark Arago sat with his arm around his client, who remained stone-faced as he had throughout much of this trial. When the verdict was finally read, Sharon Rocha, Laci's mother, gasped. Jackie Peterson shook her head, no, no. And within minutes, the verdict was in print, a single word, death.
The judge praised the jury on what he called a difficult job for everyone.
I know it's a hard decision for you to make. It's hard for me, it's hard for you, it's hard for the lawyers, it's hard for the families.
Court TV's Amanda Grove.
There's definitely going to be appeals in this case, primarily because of the juror situation. At the very end, jurors were being knocked off left and right. That leads to appealable issues. What it says is that perhaps because these jurors were not going with the flow, they got voted off.
Outside the court, the reaction to the announcement was muted, in contrast to the loud cheers that had greeted the verdict. The gag order was lifted and some jurors talked about their decision.
Scott Peterson was Laci's husband, Connor's daddy. The one person that should have protected them. And for him to have done that, that's it.
The fact that this person, as they've stated, was Laci's husband, person that, married her until death do we part. And the fact is that there was a lot of trust issues.
Defense attorney Mark Garagos also spoke outside the court.
Obviously, we're very disappointed. Obviously, we plan on pursuing every and all appeals, motions for new trial, and everything else.
Dismissed juror Justin Faulkner monitored the verdict for Inside Edition.
Do I think they got it wrong? Yeah, I do. I don't think I would have voted the way that they did.
Formal sentencing of Scott Peterson is scheduled for February 25th.
Before there was Laci and before Amber, there was Lauren, a woman from Scott Peterson's past you've never met until now.
Oh, he was charming, absolutely charming, handsome, most driven man I've ever met till then.
Lauren Putnant just turned 18 when she met Scott Peterson. They both worked at this restaurant on California's Central Coast. In an interview conducted just days before the verdict came down, Lauren told me her attraction to Scott was instant and mutual, and her friends and family all liked the good-looking young businessman.
Your mom wanted you to marry Scott.
Yeah, my mother especially wanted me to marry him because he was a catch. He was. He treated me like a queen. He was very romantic, just send me flowers and roses and just say the sweetest things.
During Peterson's murder trial, his former mistress, Amber Fry, testified that Scott wooed her with wine and roses. Lauren says that's how Peterson courted her.
He would literally take me to the beach and have a picnic set up on the sand and watch the sunset, and he would feed me strawberries or, fresh berries that he had picked with a nice wine or champagne.
But after a year and a half, Lauren says she broke it off because Scott was too much of a stay-at-home guy for her.
One of the reasons why I didn't want to be with him is because he was a little, not my type, more straight. Sometimes you just want to break free and dance until 2 and take a shot. And, he would just never, he wasn't loosened up. He was a little uptight.
How did he react when you broke up with him?
It was sad. I remember he was standing right in front of the fireplace and he was pacing back and forth, and he was upset.
But Lauren says within a week of the breakup, Peterson found a woman on the rebound. Her name, Laci Rocha.
She was angelic, very angelic.
And Lauren says Peterson went out of his way to make sure she met Laci face to face.
It was mostly, hey, Laci, come into the restaurant so Lauren can see us. They sat in my section. I had to wait on him.
To make you jealous, you think?
Yeah, I think so. But it was funny because it didn't.
Lauren says not long after that, she quit her restaurant job and moved to San Francisco. She never saw Scott again until 2 years ago, when she turned on the TV and saw Scott pleading for the safe return of his missing wife.
What was the first thing that went through your mind when you heard that Laci was missing?
I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. I lost sleep over it.
Do you ever think, when you look at what happened to Laci, that could have been me?
Yeah. And the FBI told me, they said, you're so lucky.
How did that make you feel when police
Creepy.
said that could have been you?
I lost sleep. I lost sleep over it.
But Lauren says what made her feel even more uncomfortable was hearing Scott's voice on the tapes Amber Fry recorded for the police. She says the Modesto cops asked her to do the same thing for them and even gave her a special cell phone, but she declined to go along with the plan.
And I didn't feel comfortable with that because I didn't want to hurt a friend. And he was a friend to me. He was very good to me. I still love him for who he is, person I know.